right, hey everybody, this is Esqua here. So one of my most popular videos, it's been one of the first videos I made. I don't know what I gotta look back at that video to see what level I was, what airship level I was. One of the first videos I made was talking about how important I felt the airship is, and even today, I feel that it's important. The reason why, it adds a lot to your overall power, not just now with the abilities, the enhanced abilities, but also with the embedded parts. So I want to do an updated video with the latest and greatest what's happening now with the airship. Maybe provide extra insight, maybe not, but here's the I guess maximizing your airship part 2. All right, everybody, let's take a look here. So one thing that's changed since I first did my video is everything looks a little different here. They reduced the columns from like 3 across to 2 across. As you can see as well, I reached level 70 in my airship. Everything is maxed out to 31 for my attack. I'll show you my abilities in a second. I keep my airship on attack abilities just because I've been, let's say snuck attack, but a C-40 zeroed me by taking advantage of me being in my farm gear. So my goal is never to be in farm gear again for more than I need to be. All right, but yeah, other than that, everything remains the same. So for those of you who are not C70 and who have not watched my previous videos, some of the power you're going to get from an airship is not the fact that you're going to get a large march capacity. That definitely helps in battle. But what you also get, which is for me just as important or even more important, is you're getting the other stats. So not only am I getting the distance versus infantry 62% in terms of damage, that's helping me, but I'm also getting distance attack in this case 100%. And not only getting battlefield treatment 10.5%, I'm also getting 50% for troop health. And it continues. Now you'll start getting the extra bonus stats once your ability reaches 22, level 22. Some increase faster than others. Typically it alternates, so even odd. But you'll start seeing it. So if you don't have your abilities at 22 yet, you don't see this, but once you get there, you're going to see it. And think about having the difference of being able to have 50% extra cavalry damage, or 50% extra distance damage. So on and on here. So I really believe in maximizing your airship. It was easier in the past. They took away some of the ways that I did a big push. So I early on I put a decent amount of money in my airship. I admit that, it's fine. But later on, I said, I'm not going to do that. There's an easier way to do that. And what I did is I used the store from the mine and from the airship expedition to purchase the experience points. But now they changed it. And unfortunately, you can't get it from here anymore. And it's interesting that that's the only thing they took away, really, is the airship. It's interesting. I don't understand how they make these decisions, but that's the only thing they really took away from you. However, in the mining, you still have it here. So going after your 80 a day, make sure you do that. If you are a lower level, every time you're doing a bounty, go after that airship. The time to get your airship up is between 25 and 30. If you're during that period and you can just bump, get that airship up as fast as you can, because once you get to 30, now you're trying to focus on aristocrat badges. And that's going to take a lot of your focus away from your airship, because now you're just worrying about increasing to the next level. So a great time to focus on your airship is before you get to level 30. So just a little tidbit there. But yeah, unfortunately, they took away a lot of the ways you can upgrade your airship for free. But going back to where I was. All right, so yeah, we talked about the abilities, the great things about once you're at 22. Now this only counts for the distance. I'm sorry, the attack abilities and the defense abilities. This does not count for the abilities that are for the beasts or creatures, whatever. It only counts for the attack ability. So just so you know that, so you don't go trying to max out your beast type of abilities and wonder, oh, where are my extra stats at? You're not going to get them. So, period. I think having a big, strong, awesome airship is important. Now, looking at the abilities, the way I set up my airship, and I know I need to make an adjustment. I'll talk about that in a second. But basically, I'm using the things that I'm set mine up more for PvP. So the things that you're going to see missing is infantry versus artillery damage, or distance versus artillery damage, or cavalry versus artillery damage. The reason because most of my battles I figure are going to be PvP type battles. KVK, KE, UAC. So I'm going to set up my formation, for lack of a better word, more as a PvP. So I'm going to maximize the troops that I use pretty much every day for every battle. And I got everything at 5 except for my battlefield treatment in terms of enhancements. So in terms of my setup for defense, really using the same thing. The only thing I'm not using, the only thing that's different here is I am not using the march, the increased march. Because to me, you don't really need an increased march if you're on a defense. And actually, what I have added is this infantry versus artillery damage. And the reason why I added that, not necessarily for the extra, a lot of people not, well, I guess it makes sense to send artillery if you're going to attack someone's castle or attack someone, period. But look at the difference in the attack stats I'm getting from this guy. So by adding this guy, taking away a troop march that I don't need, and adding this guy, where you think, oh, I don't care about artillery. Well, in this case, it's important because he's going to give you 100% attack stats at level 31. So for me, I change up one thing, but everything else remains the same overall with my airship formation, for lack of a better description. When it comes to gathering, I really just focus on the things that I do. I gather iron, I gather silver, and anything that's going to help me do that is what I have points to, because they're limited. You don't have a lot. You don't have unlimited amount of components. You have to decide what you want to do. And to me, and for probably a lot of people, iron and silver are the most important things. So as you can see, I maxed out iron. The reason why I didn't max out silver is, I maxed out silver. The reason why I didn't max out iron is because you get a boost from, I believe, Renee. One of your guards gives you a 30% boost in iron gathering. So for me, that's not a focus. I rather focus on my silver, maxing that out. Maxing out some of this, well, not maxing, but increasing my gathering speed. And then the rest, okay, iron can take up the rest because, I'm getting that other 30%. So this is not a high priority to me to get that high, but getting silver high is. So that's the difference. That's why I have my silver at 31. But otherwise, in gathering, just focus on what you're going to gather. And, in terms of these abilities, we'll talk about that in a second. But in gathering, I don't need to be spread out. How often am I going to be collecting tons and tons of food? Probably never. How often am I going to be collecting a ton of wood? Probably never. So I'm not going to worry about those. And that's something that you got to think about when structuring your airship. For the beast attack, really, I'm just using mostly what I care about are the attack, the different attack abilities. Not this one. And then you have to fill it somehow. So I fill it with the hit power. I don't know. To be honest, I can't explain what they do. So, and I know when I send my Kingdom Threat formation, I'm not sending a ton of artillery, so I'm not going to add that. So the choice was not adding artillery or adding artillery, and I decided not to. So everything else is just cavalry, infantry, and distance, plus some increase in march capacity and some speed there. All right, so great. So now we talked about the basics on how I have things set up. So once again, with attack, everything's at 31. I'm using the things for more of a PvP, not worrying about attacking a castle. If you're attacking a castle, you're probably worry more about the artillery. But I'm not set up for that, so yeah, I'm okay with that for now. For defense, I took away the march capacity, and instead I'm using this guy, infantry versus artillery damage reduction, not for that particular stat, but for that 100% infantry attack. So that's a great boost for me. If I can increase my infantry attack when someone's attacking me, that's going to give me a better chance of surviving that attack. So, that's the way I'm approaching it. For gathering, I'm only focusing on the things that matter to me in terms of what I do every day, which is gathering either iron or silver. Everything else, other than increasing the speed of that gathering, really doesn't matter to me. You just got to figure out what matters to you and go with it. And finally, for the beast, pretty much I use everything available except for the artillery abilities. For me, I don't use artillery a lot in my marches, so I'm not going to put them in because they're a small part. The smallest part of my Kingdom Threat march or my gate march is artillery, so I'm not going to put those into my allocation. All right, so that being said, let's talk about these things right here. All right, so these are your abilities, and each of your different abilities are going to be assigned an airship part. So you're going to get 2 of each. You're going to get 2 for distance, 2 for cavalry, 2 for infantry, and 2 for troop attack. And just so you know, if you have something where you don't have at least level 20 for a ability, you're not going to get the full benefit. So let's take a look at this. So as you can see here right now, for this particular, where am I at here? Let me see. Alright, so going to my gathering. So for level 18, I'm not getting any benefits because I'm below 20. Let's see, do you get any benefits during gathering period? I never really tested that. That's a good point. Alright, so here you go. So for gathering, you're not getting any benefits from your abilities. So, answers that question. Boom. Alright, now I can move on. Alright, so the abilities. So the abilities are look at the title here. You embed the, airship parts. The airship parts are embedded into your abilities, give you extra stats. So there's different levels of airship parts. I think it's better to look at the showcase. The easier parts to get are the green and the blue. You can get those for free, and you'll be able to get those from your catacomb store. So if you're just starting off, or if you have a farm, that's the first place you go to fill up your airship parts. The other parts here, the gold parts, the rare gold and the epic gold, then the platinum and the titanium, these require books, or actually scrolls. So you have to collect a certain number. Let me see here. Here you go. Certain number of handbooks in order to activate it. Once you have that number, a certain number of handbooks, you can activate it, and then you're able to craft it. It doesn't, activating the handbook does not give you permission and the ability to craft it. You still need to have the tools. So, you just have the ability. Remember, when you activate a handbook, there's not saying, all right, yeah, you got the gem, you got the airship part. No. Now you have the ability to craft it. You unlocked it as a potential weapon. So basically, the key is to join the events. You need 100 of these. Not these right here. You need 100 of the manuscripts, gold, platinum, titanium now, in order to craft one category. So when you get a transcript, in this case, suppose I got a transcript for platinum thing for infantry, attack, cavalry attack, distance attack. So say I got an attack type of cannon, and I got this at a rare gold. I unlocked it at gold. Well, I'll be able to go to my next cannon, and that's automatically, I'm able to unlock that as well. So you don't need a manuscript, a full set of manuscripts for each individual type of part. You just need it for a category. So you get 100, you can do the two. You two at a time. So you need a total, looking at the total type of stacks, and here they're situated by attack, defense, health, and then troop stats. So you're going to need a total of 400 of those manuscripts together to be able to do whatever level you're trying to do. So if it's level 4, that's 4. Let's see what this is. Yeah, the level 4 when you're starting off at platinum, level 3 when you're starting off at gold, or level 5 when you're starting off at titanium. These are the start off points. You're going to need at least 100 of each of these if you want to be able to craft them. And they give great stats, so the higher you get, the better. For me, what I usually focus on, this with my gems, as well as pretty much anything I'm upgrading, these extra things like gems, curiosities, airship, and all that stuff. I usually focus on attack, because attack is one of the harder things to get in terms of extra stats. So some people, they focus highly on troop stats, which is great, because having great troop stats also work. But for me, I really just focus on attack, then troop stats, and then everything else. So in this case, I had the ability to craft a titanium part. I went ahead and crafted one. So I had the ability to craft another. So once you're able to craft one, you're able to craft a second one. And I took that to the next level as a rare titanium. And here you can see the difference in the level of stats you're getting. It's better to look here in this case. So I have one at, I'm getting 182 When I was an epic platinum, I was at 120. So that's a 60% increase. So for me, I focus on attack first, then troop, then everything else. Some people focus on troop first, then attack, and everything else. You got to find what works best for you. Certainly look at what you currently have. If you see that you're severely lacking in one area versus the other, I would focus on that area first. All right. The only other area of the airship is the enhancement. Now, this enhancement is very important because not only are you going to get the stats for each ability, this enhancement is going to give you an additional percentage of those stats. For example, for a troop march, so in addition to that regular troop march that's assigned to the ability, I'm also getting a boost of 42% of that particular troop march ability. So for example, in a case where, I have, 10,000 march, and I'm getting an extra 40% boost. Now I have a 14,000 march in a simple case. So that's very important. So for me, I'm going to focus on those attack abilities first, because that's something I'm going to make sure. If you don't have a good attack setup, you're not going to last long in the game, and you won't be able to farm or do all the other things you want to do. So it makes sense to me to focus on the attack first, and then you can build around that with your if you want to set it up for your gardening or your beast hunt or whatever. So this is the I guess the part 2 of the airship, maximizing your airship. Hopefully I was able to speak clearly. Please let me know if you have any questions. The airship, in my opinion, is still very important. A lot of ways for you to get some great stats. Getting to a level 70 airship is something that everyone should strive for, in my opinion. But everyone, thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and please subscribe. Have a great day, everyone.